Welcome to Pistons Talk Podcast. Hope you guys are having a great night. What we'll be discussing in today's episode is the Dennis Schroder sign and trade details. Malik Monk to the Detroit Pistons. Those trade rumors are heating up. We're going to get into it tonight. So I want to start first with the Dennis Schroder sign and trade details because we saw that Dennis Schroder very early in free agency had signed with the Kings. We got news last night from Amari Sankofa that it's going to be a sign and trade now. So this is a tweet that he put out. So I'll read it if you are an audio listener and you haven't seen the tweet. It says sources, the Dennis Schroder signing will be a sign and trade between the Pistons and Kings. That will allow the Pistons to take back up to $22.6 million or will generate a player exception worth $14.3 million. If they don't take a player back, either way, they gain flexibility. So there are two pathways that Amari does kind of lay out for the Detroit Pistons. I want to get into both of these pathways and which avenue I think the Pistons are going to take. So the player exception I think is very valuable in today's NBA. We see teams all the time use player exceptions in free agency or in trades. They're very valuable. A lot of front offices use them as leverage when they want to go get a guy. That's one way the Pistons can kind of come out with not getting a player back in a Dennis Schroder sign and trade with the Sacramento Kings. The second way is, I think, what the Pistons will do. Taking a player back and having up to $22.6 million to kind of play with. Now, I think if you look at this team right now, you guys, there's a lot of holes on this roster. I think backup point guard, you guys might not agree with me. I think the Pistons still need a backup point guard. I really don't want to see, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, staggered minutes. I've seen people kind of float the idea that Karis LeVert is the backup point guard now since we signed him. I know he can handle the ball. I know he did it a little bit in Cleveland, did it in Atlanta, a little bit in Indiana. I would just much rather have a backup point guard, a veteran backup point guard. Not to say that Karis LeVert couldn't handle it. It's just my preference. You guys may think that Karis LeVert is more than capable of being the Pistons' backup point guard. Okay, I'll let you guys have that one if you're right. I really will. But I'd like to see them sign a backup point guard if they can. I think there are still some under the radar guys that they could target. Okay, backup point guard. I think that's a debate in itself. The other position on this roster that I think they do need to address, and I think it's more of a need at this point, backup power forward. And I think you guys will probably 100% agree with me. I have not seen one person disagree with me that we don't need a backup power forward help. You got Tobias Harris, and you look at depth charts right now. I've seen some people put Paul Reed in there. I've seen some people put Ron Holland because we just don't have a backup point guard. Seen some people float the idea of Bobby Klitman. The one thing I'll say about Bobby, and then we'll kind of discuss the backup power forward situation and why I think that they'll try to target a backup four in the rotation and adding to this team. I think Bobby, to me, is definitely a power forward at the NBA level. My only questions with him right now is he ready to be a backup power forward? Is he ready to be in a rotation backing up Tobias? And I don't know. I think he showed flashes in last year's summer league. I watched him a lot in the G League. He developed quite a bit, played multiple positions, multiple roles with the Motor City Cruise. But I have to see a little bit more for him for me to feel confident enough saying, you don't need a backup power forward. You got Bobby. If he has a good summer league, if he has a good training camp, good preseason, and we see, growth and development and we feel confident enough, then yeah, I'll come up here and say Bobby Klitman is the Detroit Pistons backup power forward. But I just don't have enough evidence right now to fully be committed to him as the backup power forward on this team. And it's kind of unfair to him because he didn't really get to play a whole lot because he did have a calf injury last year and he was kind of robbed of that. But I'm still very high on Bobby Klitman, you guys. I just think the Pistons might go out and get a more established, an older, maybe a veteran backup power forward and trade for one with with this sign and trade situation with Dennis Schroder. That's just my opinion. You may think that Bobby is more than capable of backing up Tobias, or you like the Paul Reed idea, or you think Ron Holland is more of a power forward than a small forward. I don't know, but I think those are two positions when I look at this team right now, especially in free agency, backup point guard and backup power forward. To me, I think are the two biggest holes on this team. And I know that we're going to sign more players. We have the sign and trade situation with Dennis Schroder, where we can take two different avenues. And you also have the room exception as well. So the Pistons are not done signing players, you guys. Uh, Over these next couple of days, we'll probably see who they are going to sign. I think they have until July 6th, I believe. At 12:01, they have to make these deals official. So we'll definitely see more signings. Excuse me. Maybe we'll see more tomorrow and this weekend. So Malik Monk, day one of free agency, we saw a report that the Detroit Pistons and the Sacramento Kings were discussing maybe a possible trade. And we got a report from Brett Siegel of Clutch Points. And he reported last night that the Pistons and Kings have re-engaged on a sign and trade conversations running Dennis Schroder. Sources told Clutch Points. Sacramento has been motivated to move a Malik Monk. Now, Malik Monk is a very intriguing player to me. He was actually very high. If you guys do remember last summer when I was looking at free agents, when the Pistons had a buttload of cap space to spend, Malik Monk was one of the guys that I thought the Pistons could go out and acquire and target. He got the bag by Sacramento to come back, and he got paid, and deservedly so. Um, One of the best six man in the NBA, in my opinion. If you can get a guy like that in a sign and trade with the Kings for Dennis Schroder, it makes a whole lot of sense, you guys. It really does. I know someone's going to say we have enough guards, but Malik is just a combo guard that can handle the rock. He can get a bucket. And I think if you have a bench unit of like a Malik Monk, Harris LeVert, Duncan Robinson, Isaiah Stewart, whatever forward that you do acquire, I think that second unit's a lot of fun. And I think there's situations where Malik Monk could actually close games next to Kate Cunningham and company. And then later throughout the night, I know I rambled a little bit about Malik Monk. I apologize. I'm kind of a Malik Monk stan. We got a report from NBC Sports in the Bay Area that this covers, California sports out there, that the Kings, Warriors, and Pistons are discussing a three-team sign and trade involving Jonathan Kuminga and Malik Monk. Now, I did go ahead and read this article, and the three-team trade basically was the Pistons would get Malik Monk, the Warriors would get um, Carter, who plays in Sacramento, and Dario Saric, and the Kings would get Jonathan Kuminga because the Kings are really high on Jonathan Kuminga. And I think Jonathan Kuminga has a really big market. It's kind of up in the air what Golden State wants to do with him long term. I know there's been like a lot of just turmoil with him and Steve Kerr, and just Kerr not using him as much as I think some fans think he should. He's a very talented player. But, the Warriors have been very, I guess, vocal about not wanting to deal Kuminga to the Kings because there was a little bit of just pushback with a lot of beat reporters that do cover the Golden State Warriors that, discussions are still going on, and, this trade isn't finalized yet, but it's looking like it could be a three-team trade with the Pistons, the Kings, and the Warriors. As of right now, all the reports are kind of, signing that the Warriors are waiting on what's Al Horford going to do. Is he going to retire? Is he going to the Lakers? Or is he going to sign in Golden State? And then Golden State will make up their mind whether or not they want to renegotiate and get back into these three-team trades, and where, each party is happy. Now, what kind of happened this morning is Jonas Valanciunas was traded, and um, they say that the deal between the Sacramento Kings, Denver Nuggets, including Dario Saric and Jonas Valanciunas, is unlikely to be rescinded, per Jake Fisher. So that was kind of a holdup. Also today with the JV news, he got a bag to go overseas. there's no like real indication if he's going to go overseas and get the bag or play with the Nuggets or whatever. Um, but there's that situation as well. But I think I just kind of want to end the podcast this way. I think if you're the Detroit Pistons and you have a chance to get a guy like a Malik Monk on your roster, and with the additions of Duncan Robinson and the additions of Karis LeVert, I think that's a hell of an offseason. And you still have the room exception to possibly get a forward or a backup point guard, which I think if you got Malik Monk, you probably wouldn't really have to get a backup point guard because he could take most of your ball handling duties away from a Marcus Sasser, so he doesn't have to be a backup point guard. I think if you were able just to execute and get a Malik Monk trade, that's a really good offseason, in my opinion. Um, yes, losing Malik Beasley because of legal trouble right now, it hurts. Tim Hardaway Jr., it stings a little bit, but I think Duncan Robinson to me is a good replacement. So is Karis LeVert. And if you get Monk, I think you have a lot of firepower off your bench. You have veterans that can go out and close games in tight situations with Cade Cunningham, Asar, and company. I would really like to see this Malik Monk trade done, but we're going to have to wait and see what does happen with this. And I think we will see a decision made pretty soon over the next 48 hours or so. But let me know what you guys think, though, of the Pistons trying to acquire Malik Monk from the Sacramento Kings. And if you would pull this move, I don't really have anything else to really, say on the podcast tonight. I did fix my mic. I saw someone say, I'm waiting for Anthony to fix his mic facing standing up because I usually have it like kind of like sideways, like this way. And someone's just like, bro, like you got to fix your mic. So I did fix my mic. Hopefully it does look better on the camera if you are watching this live on YouTube. If you're listening to me on audio, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And it's kind of funny to me, but we'll talk to you guys very soon. Keep you up to date with this NBA free agency and what the Detroit Pistons are doing. But until next time, you guys, take care. Have a good night. Go Pistons. Peace.